consider our priorities at Rightship for the next 5 years, I think it's very much around continuing to strengthen the products and services that we provide to the industry that are all aimed at helping us achieve our vision of creating a zero harm maritime industry. That includes ensuring that the products and services that we have currently remain steadfast and continue to provide the data-driven insights to the stakeholder base and the value chain that we work with, but also ensuring that our products evolve against the backdrop of the volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous or VUCA world that we are currently living in. Ultimately as well, Rightship's priority is to work more closely with customers and industry fora to ensure that we continue to portray and influence the industry as an organisation that is set about a vision of a zero harm maritime industry, and one which is really trying to drive as a force for good in the maritime sector. So I think the maritime environment, as much as the rest of society, is under a lot of pressure with the climate emergency. And I think that is really shaping the landscape for where the focus needs to be for the maritime industry going forward. When we look at that climate emergency, we see a number of different aspects that need to be considered. Of course, the urgent need for transition of and scalability of new fuels and technology is highly important. But equally, we need to stop and take pause and recognise there are 1.6 million seafarers in the industry that also need to be part of that transition. For many different aspects, the requirement for urgent upskilling and retraining of that seafarer base. But it's not just the technologies and new fuels that we need to consider. There is also aspects of digitalisation which are providing a more complex landscape for the industry. So where does our focus need to be? Of course, it needs to be around keeping those seafarers safe in that transition. We need to ensure that there is a just and equitable transition to make sure that no company or seafarers are left behind. And we need to future-proof the organisation by ensuring the maritime industry remains attractive to bring new talent into the businesses around the world to enable maritime trade to thrive going forward. Okay, when we look at ESG in the shipping industry, I think one of the first challenges is trying to distill exactly what ESG means and how it integrates into various organisations within the maritime industry. Certainly from where we sit, ESG means different things to different people, and therefore it's important for organisations to recognise what their role is in ESG. I think beyond that, when we look broadly at ESG, we see a lot of focus on the environmental side, the E. Quite often there is less focus around the governance and also around the social. And I think this is due in part by the challenges that people face in trying to measure those aspects. So we certainly need as an industry to focus on the social and the governance as well as the environment. And I think we need to recognise that there is no silver bullet, there is no one size fits all when it comes to something like ESG, but it's very relative to each and every organisation. So our role at Rightship is very much to help organisations to display data through our platform that create visibility around an ESG lens for the different stakeholders that we work with. So I think when we consider the key actions and the key focus areas for the industry going forward, I think there are four key areas that I would like to highlight. The first is collaboration. as an industry. We cannot overcome the challenges that we are facing on our own. We have to come together and unite in order to drive change, effective change, both in the near term and the longer term, for the betterment of the industry and society. To take that further, the second thing that I would highlight is we need to optimise what we have today, but also develop pathways for the future, and recognise that those two pathways are effectively running on parallels. So it's very important that we really take that up and we can optimise what we're doing today. When we consider that longer term pathway, I think the third thing that I would mention is, as an industry, we have to be ready to fail forward. We have to recognise that every decision or position that we take is going to be the right decision or action, but we need to be resilient in our approach as an industry and be able to move past those challenges. And I think the final point that I would mention is the crew. We have to ensure as an industry that we make ourselves attractive to bring new talent into the business and to sustain the talent that we have, because without these seafarers, it poses an existential threat to the industry. So really harnessing the power of people as we go forward is extremely important.